Hi guys, welcome back to the home in Homestead. My name is Rebecca, and today on the Homestead, together we will be making some homemade candles. These are a great thing to make for a homemade gift, so if you're trying to think of something that you'd like to give someone for a holiday gift, to add to a gift basket, perhaps a housewarming or a get well soon type of gift, homemade candles are a wonderful thing that you can make yourself and then give to someone that you care about. So follow along while we go step by step on how to make these homemade candles together. So first off, when you're making some homemade candles, you'll need to purchase some candle wax. I like to use the coconut soy blend as a nice creamy color and texture, and it has a nice clean burn. And the particular wax that I purchased, it has a high fragrance load limit. So I will include in the description box below all of the equipment that I used today for making these homemade candles. So each type of candle wax material that you look into, each one has a different melting point and a temperature that you should add your essential oils or fragrance to, as well as the temperature that they should be poured into your mason jar or a candle container or some other unique vessel that you find for your homemade candles. So for my particular blend of coconut soy, that is the temperature and the ranges that I'll be going over today, as well as for my particular brand, what percentage of essential oils and fragrance they recommend for how much wax that you use. And that will affect the throw, or how much a candle smells. A candle can have a cold throw, just smelling a candle, what does it smell like, versus a hot throw. So once you light it and it warms up and it starts melting the wax, how much do you smell that fragrance in a room, the next room, the whole house? So that's what the term throw means for a candle. So to get started, what you want to do is measure out your candle wax. And my particular wax that I'm using today has a maximum 10% fragrance load ratio for how much wax that you use. Meaning if you use 10 ounces of wax, you should use 1 ounce of fragrance as a maximum. So I have various jars and vessels that I'll be using today. I'll be starting with my 8-ounce candle jars. So for an 8-ounce jar, you want to fill that with about 6 ounces of wax, because you want to have a little bit of, like a finger's width or a 1/2-inch headspace or so between your candle top and the top of whatever you're putting it in. So for an 8-ounce jar, I'll do about 6 ounces of wax. So I'll be shooting for no more than 0.6 ounces of my essential oil that I'll be adding today. So I have that all measured out, and let's head over to the stovetop and I'll show you how to melt the wax to make these candles. Alright, so on the stovetop I have a pot with some water in here. Then I have my wax melting kettle here, and there's 2 ways of melting wax. You can do as I'm doing here, which is the water bath method, where the pitcher or whatever you're melting the wax in is resting right in the water. And it kind of floats. I don't know if you can tell from the camera, but it's not sitting directly on the bottom of the pot. Another way of melting the wax is also doing a double boiler. So much like when you would double boil and melt, say, chocolate, you'd have a little pot with water in and then a bowl that would rest on the surface of the pot and not touch the water beneath. That's how you would do the double boil method to melt the candle wax. So in here I have enough wax to make 2 6-ounce candles. I'll be putting them in 2 8-ounce candle jars that I purchased specifically for this project. The candle wax comes in a large block, and then I just use a metal scraper and scrape off the amount of wax I need, and I use my kitchen scale with a paper plate on there to measure out how much wax I'll be doing, and then I just figure out the ratio as I spoke about earlier. So the maximum is a 10% fragrance load, and I'm shooting more for 6 to 8%, but 10% is a pretty easy calculation to make. So now we'll just wait for the candle wax to melt. The melting point is 125 to 130 degrees Fahrenheit, and it is starting to melt already. So I have my laser thermometer here, and that will work well for testing the different stages that we're looking for. You could also use a candy thermometer or something like that, but I like the laser thermometer. It's an instant read, and I'm not getting any equipment dirty by doing so. So first we'll melt the wax, And then once the wax reaches 170 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit, then we can add the fragrance. At that point, we will turn the heat off and let it cool until it reaches 140 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit. At that point, that's the pouring temperature, and we can pour that into our vessels for making the candles. So while the candle wax melts here on the stovetop, we'll head over to where we will be filling the candles, and I'll show you how to set up the vessels and wicks for pouring. So here's where we will be setting up the jars for pouring the candle wax into, and here are the wicks. These are 3.5 inch wicks, and that'll be just right for these vessels. And they come with these little stickers. So what you do is you just peel off the sticker, put it to the bottom metal part of the wick, and just stick it roughly in the middle of the jar that you're going to be using. So normally if you're going to do a large batch of a fragrance, I would just pour the essential oil or fragrance right into the pitcher that's on the stovetop right now. However, I'm doing a bunch of different flavors, so I'm going to mix them right into the glass jar. I think the wax is melted and up to temperature, so I'm going to remove it from the heat. Let's add the fragrance and pour into our vessels. Just added the fragrance. Now I'll just stir around to mix the fragrance in here. I'll mix this fragrance in. The candle wax is clear right now, but it will cool to an opaque, creamy color, much like this little stir stick that I'm using. So you can use popsicle sticks or whatever you have on hand to try to mix and stir your fragrance in. We have a whole bunch of these stir sticks, so I'll use this, and then it helps to prop up the wick as well so that it's upright. And I like to put the fragrance that I used next to the candle if I'm doing a bunch of different flavors at one time, so I know which one is which. Then I also purchased some little round labels, and then I can write on them what the fragrance is. So you want to let these cool overnight and then let them cure for about a week before you light them. So we'll let these cool, and once they're completely cool and they become solid and opaque and cream, then I will cut the wick to about 1/4 inch off of the surface of the candle. If you notice in the morning after they've cooled and solidified that there's little divots or imperfections that you want to make look better, you can melt that with a heat gun or a little lighter, just to slightly melt the wax over that surface so that'll kind of level off the wax. Or you can always melt a little more wax and pour that over the top if you want to make your candle surface look perfect. So now we'll let these cool. I'll get another batch of candle wax going, and I'll make some more candles. So now that we've made all of our candles today, What I'll do is let these sit overnight, and then in the morning I'll take my wick scissors here and I'll cut the wicks about a 1/4 inch off the top surface of the wax, and then I'll let these candles cure for about a week, and then you are able to light them. These candles smell amazing, and a nice homemade candle helps give a cozy, homey feel to a space and could be a great option to give to someone as a gift. So this was a really fun project today, making some homemade candles. We have 16 total that we made today, and again I used the coconut soy blend for the wax, and I will include in the description box below all of the materials and equipment that I used to complete this project today. And I also purchased a set of 300 wicks, and they were 3.5 inch, 6 inch, and 8 inch, and that's a nice variety, so you can use all different kinds of jar sizes and vessel sizes for making your homemade candles. And I also used both some pre-blend essential oil flavors as well as some singular essential oil flavors, and I made my own customized scents using those. So I purchased some lavender, sweet orange, and lemon, and I made some combinations of those. And then I had a couple of pre-blend sets such as this one here, and I will include them below, and those all smell very nice too. So now if you're looking for a nice homemade gift option to give to a friend, family member, neighbor, or someone you care about, homemade candles might be a nice option to do. If you're interested in other homemade gift ideas, I have a number of videos where I have something that you can eat and cook with, or drink and bake with, as well as a number of food preservation videos and recipes in the kitchen, all of which would be lovely things to add to gift baskets or to take the time to make for somebody and give to them as a gift any time of year. Well, I hope you're having a wonderful day today, and hopefully you can have some fun making some homemade candles as well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. See you next time. Take care.